Today on Exploring Limitations, we're going to take a look at the often disparaged, often derided, often divisive BBE Sonic Maximizer and ask ourselves, is this a pointless $60 piece of gear? Here we go! This little unit is called the BBE Sonic Maximizer, specifically 282IR. Shout out to Harris Francow, sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, in the comments for reminding me that this thing exists. This unit is the desktop version of the BBE Sonic Maximizer rack unit, which as far as I know and can tell is the same circuit, just with different input and output options. As you can see, I have no rack gear here yet, which is why I got the desktop unit. It's nice and small and cozy and cute and fits somewhere tucked away in my tiny New York City apartment. What is a Sonic Maximizer? Well, like ethereal questions like, what happens to life after death? No one knows what the BBE Sonic Maximizer is. I'm half joking, of course. According to BBE, the basic premise is that
loudspeakers have difficulty working with the electronic signal supplied by an amplifier. These difficulties cause such major phase and amplitude distortion that the sound reproduced by the speaker differs significantly from the sound produced by the original source.
BBE also says that it spent 10 years researching numerous speaker systems in order to correct phase and amplitude integrity. So, this circuit
distills the corrections necessary to return the fundamental and harmonic frequency structures to their correct order.
Huh? What? I don't get it. I don't get it either, because they're extremely vague, probably for proprietary reasons. If you have any technical insight into the circuit, please share with the class in the comments section below. What I do know is this. There are two knobs on the front, low contour and process. And if you turn to the last page of your manual, you will clearly see that it says maximum process, plus 12 decibels boost at 5 kilohertz, and low contour, plus 12 decibels at 50 hertz. So we know something is going on around those frequencies, but I can assure you, having used this, it's not just EQ. If I'm going too fast with the technical stuff, I apologize. If you have any questions about what all those letters mean, just hit me in the comment section below. Anyway, what does this all mean for silly artists like you and me? I would say this unit provides clarity, specifically low-end clarity, and the high-end, especially when working with tape and old funky units like this 1987 Tascam Porta 2. I'm super excited to try the BBE Sonic Maximizer on one of my old multi-tracks to mix again. And that's the main reason I got it, for mixes. It's a product of the 1980s and it goes well with my other products from the 1980s. The hookup of this is extremely simple. As you can see right here, my stereo outs that normally would go into the tape machine or into the computer are going into the input section of the Sonic Maximizer. And then I've got more outputs from the Sonic Maximizer, and that's currently going into Logic. Very straightforward. And in terms of the controls, very, very simple. You have an on-off switch in the back. You have two knobs that we've already mentioned, low contour and process. This knob on the front, when the light is red, it's out. It means you're bypassing the unit. When the button is pushed in, the light turns green. That means you are using it. Low contour starts both at 0, all the way counterclockwise, and then you add as you go clockwise, and we will hear that pretty soon. Later in the video, I'm gonna do a listening test with this and the tape machine. But before I do that, how about we quickly hear this on some individual instruments. I'm gonna play through the Tascam preamp, and the stereo outs are going into the BBE Sonic Maximizer, and that's going directly into Logic. That's what you're hearing. So let's just get started with the two knobs on some instruments, starting with some bass. All right, how about drum machine? Pretty fat. And how about some ambient guitar? Why I purchased the Sonic Maximizer, so let's see how it works on an entire mix. Okay, the song example we are using today is called Upon This from the EP What Must I Test Upon This Machine. Links to all original music is down below if you're curious about it. One of the reasons I use this song as a frequent example is because I didn't use any effects during the mixdown process, so I don't have to set up any delays or reverbs or even remember the settings. You've heard the Maximizer on some individual instruments, but this, what I'm about to do, is the whole reason why I got it. So let's hear it on the entire mix. We're gonna start with the Maximizer off. All right, no Maximizer. Let's take these all the way down. All right, on. Okay, that's a lot of bass. There you go. Let's go off again. I'm going to stop the music right there for a second just to talk about what I'm hearing, and curious about what you're hearing in the comments below. You know, my balance was pretty good on the original mix, so it's not like I had this in mind when I made the mix. But it's for Porta Studio stuff, the process knob really helps. So I'm just going to turn the low contour off, and we're going to toggle back and forth between just the process being on and with it off. So let's continue listening. Off, on. I'm gonna pull it back a little bit. So you can hear with just the process, you're kind of hearing the balance of the whole range tilt a little bit. Not necessarily in a way that I totally love, but it does make it clearer. And that's why I like to bring in the low contour, the low end. This is fun. Let's keep going. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Be careful to not just fall into the louder is better trap, because this unit does do that. Let me just play it one more time and go to the extremes like we did on the instruments. See, it gets really heavy. If you go beyond noon, you're really starting to play with fire there. On electronic music, I know electronic musicians and DJs do like the BBE Sonic Maximizer, because you can imagine getting the floor bumping with that low end. I hope you can hear the subtle nature. So let me just go back once more to the subtle setting. My preferred setting on this mix. All right, check it out, and I'm going to toggle back and forth. Okay, now that you've heard it on individual instruments and the whole mix, let's do a quick, probably easy listening test. I do want to hear how this thing records to tape, since this is a made on tape channel, and all this music gets recorded and bounced down to my reel-to-reel machine, and then it gets to you. And as many of you know, if you watch this channel, recording to tape does alter the sound. It has the famous bass bump and things like that. What you've been hearing so far is the Tascam going directly into Logic, into the computer. So you're hearing very raw nature of what the Sonic Maximizer does. I bought it for its subtle use and help with the high end on tape stuff. The experiment. I'm gonna do a mix to the reel-to-reel the way I used to, by cranking up the high EQ on the way in. I'm recording at 7.5 inches per second. Then I'm gonna do a mix with the Maximizer into the reel-to-reel. I'm gonna take the EQs down for that and do some of the high end with the Sonic Maximizer. It may be easy for you to hear the difference, but I'm not sure, because the way I like to use this is fairly subtle. So you're gonna hear the mix played back from the reels, and you're gonna guess A or B, Maximizer or no Maximizer. Guess which is which. Are you ready? Here we go. Okay, do you have your guess? A was the mix in the old way, no Maximizer. And on B, I sent the mix through the Sonic Maximizer, which sounds like this. There you have it. Did you have a preference between the mixes? Did you enjoy the individual instruments and what this thing did to it? Let me know in the comments below. Are there other tools that do a similar or better job than this? Yes, absolutely. Do I have the money or the space for those tools right now? No, absolutely not. For $60 used, I would say that this is actually a worthy investment that allows me to avoid, which I've been avoiding, building a 500 series rack and going into crippling debt.
You should not be going into debt to buy audio gear.
That's where I'm at. But it's also a worthy investment to me because it'll allow me to make subtle tweaks. Again, I've said it a bunch already, but you gotta be really careful if you wanna get one of these. You gotta be careful because it's the kind of device where too much is gonna be way too much. So I like going subtle movements, basically to bring a little bit more clarity to the top end on my Portastudio mixes. I'm curious, if you have any experience with this unit, let me know your stories, your horror stories, why you hate it, why you love it. Do you have failed marriages over it, failed friendships, whatever. I'm just kidding, but you know, I'm not. If you're interested in supporting what I do here on the channel, I do have a Patreon page. Links are below for that. And on Bandcamp, you can pick up one of these cassettes. The song that you heard today is on it, along with about 17 other tracks from my first 4 EPs. Well, I'm gonna play something on the way out here, but with that, as always, is peace, and be good to each other. gotta do that again.